Hate to interrupt you, Ace. It looks like there's no sound coming through on YouTube right now. Okay, sounds like people are here now.
I hear you. Yeah, of course we do. The chat.
Looks like they're hearing. Apparently, they've got the other two of us, but
All right. How about now? All right. I'm seeing something. You guys hear me now? Someone in the chat confirmed they can hear me on the top box now.
yeah, you're coming through. I gotcha. I heard you there.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's rewind. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your patience. I don't know what happened there. I guess my computer decided to just not hook up my mic. So in any case, let's
Well,
uh let's
do you wanna hit stratagems first, or there's also the restrictions that are some interesting,
sure, we
funky
can scroll back to the
rules.
restrictions. I forgot about them, that they're on there.
Yeah, yeah, those are kind of we've got some funky stuff in that.
We
Well,
definitely have some funky stuff in that. So if you've read these and then didn't read very far further down, you're going to be like, why can't we take gladiators? Well, it's because we have our own data sheets. So all the Primaris vehicles, we can't use the Space Marine data sheet. We use our own because basically they give us a whole data sheet to give us the multi-melta option. So, okay, that's fine. And then of course we cannot take any psykers. Obviously, because they're filthy witches, right? Who wants witches? Um,
So
so, so interestingly enough, someone pointed this out. You could theoretically run Black Templars in the Gladius detachment and take psykers. I don't know why you do that, because I would hunt you down and burn you at the stake like the witch that you are. I mean, um, I would, be very disappointed in you because you're a heretic. But yeah, that's technically a thing you could do, but you'll be frowned upon by the community.
there's
definitely.
also the gladiator swarm you can do now with the same thing. You can take our gladiators alongside Space Marine gladiators in the Gladius
Yeah,
detachment.
yeah, because they are a
So
different data sheet.
exactly,
Yeah, because they do have a different
you're
name.
just
So,
missing meltas on some of them, you know.
yep,
But
yeah, the Tech Marine couldn't outfit them all in time. Um, That'd be hilarious. 6 Valiants or 6 Reapers or something like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, and Bob and I are going to do a video on the Gladius just because we want to, present all of the options. To be honest, after seeing what we have in this detachment, we're not going to be running the Gladius. This detachment is so good. There's so much good stuff in here. So let's dive into it. And into the stratagems we go. I'll read it again since we apparently couldn't hear me earlier. So Fervent Acclamation used to be a litany. It's 1 CP. In the command phase, you target one Adeptus Astartes character, that's important to note, from your army. Select one Templar vow that is not active for your army until the start of your next command phase. While that character is leading a unit, models in that unit gain the benefit of that vow in addition to the vow selected to be active for your army at the start of the battle. So this is awesome. This is our old litany, except the big problem with the uh, the old litany was you had to be within, what was it, 6 inches of the chaplain, which means the
Yeah,
chaplain had
provided
to
you weren't
like,
crazy and put like Crusader's helm on or something.
right, yeah, so maximum 9 inches. Now this is literally any unit on the board that has a character attached, and it doesn't matter what the character is. It doesn't have to be a chaplain. So this is fantastic because we're going to be putting characters with our most important units, like Terminators, or Sword Brethren, or a fat blob of 20 Crusaders or something like that. They're gonna have a character attached to them because we want to buff them even further, right? So I love this. That this is, and it's only 1 CP. Okay, it makes your vow choice at the beginning not quite as punishing if you like. Oh, I should have chose this one. Well, I can just give it to the unit that's in most need of it. So, um,
I look at it as really nice and useful because you're not kind of stuck into taking like Abhor the Witch because they have 1 or 2 psychers, and forgive the fire alarm of a bird behind me. She just took a bath. She's happy.
yes, she's
But
very excited about the Templar stuff.
yes, but so like if there's only 1 or 2 psychers, you can really choose when you have that Abhor on it and still benefit from the sustained or the lethal hits.
Yep,
So I love it. I can go see
absolutely.
what she's up to. I'll be back.
Ultimentra asks, who are the other 2 guests? I guess I was muted. They're not working when, when I introduced them. So I've got Rogue with me, Rogue Flight from our Discord, and Steve as well. Both of them are patron members. So a big shout out to them. They're our 2 of our Castellan level patrons. Really appreciate you guys stepping in when Bob couldn't join us this evening. And also really appreciate your guys' support. We couldn't do this without you. So um, the you know it cannot thank you guys enough for your support. So in any case, Steve, what do you think of this stratagem?
I like the first thing that came to my mind is that it's going to be a combo wombo, right? Because
Hmm.
we've got other strats that are enabled by being in a certain vow, and it's like whatever vow you have, you're always going to see another strat that you'd like to use, but unfortunately, you don't have the right vow yet. So, it could be 2 CP, but I could see popping doing like a combo wombo, especially for like a 20-man Crusader blob,
Hmm.
and it's just like they're on fire. So I think we'll be doing that right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's going to become a staple for us for sure. Speaking of staples, our next stratagem was a staple for us for all of 9th edition, and it is the venerated Devout Push. It's 1 CP as well. Now you're using it only in your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has shot. You'll target one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that had 1 or more of its models destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks. The effect is your unit can make a normal move of up to d6 inches, but it must end that move closer to the enemy that unit that just shot. If Abhor the Witch, Destroy the Witch is active for your army, which unfortunately Fervent Acclamation isn't going to be able to trigger this because it has to be the vow active for your army. Your unit can make a normal move of up to 6 inches instead, but it must end that move closer to the enemy unit that just shot, or closer to the closest psyker. So while it's not quite as powerful as it once was, it's really basically our Righteous Zeal rule from 5th edition, where we get shot and we go forward.
Exactly.
Which I love the flavor of. That's still super useful, especially if we're trying to like get further into cover or whatnot. We just have to end closer. I've talked about Devout Push in the past, where how you can end closer while still kind of going sideways, those kind of things. So a lot of really good things that you can still do with this. It's not quite as powerful as it used to be, which is fine. We have a lot of other movement tricks that we can still do that I'm really excited about. So
Unfortunately, it does remove cheeky desolation, move shoot move, but
yeah, it does.
Uh,
So yeah. So next up, we've got No Escape. So this is basically the stratagem that was, what was it called? I can't think of the name right now. It's the one where we stop people from falling back.
right.
I can't remember
Can't
the
think
name.
of
It has some weird name and I can't remember it. Um, so so yeah. In any case, what it does is when is your opponent's movement phase, when an enemy unit, excluding vehicles and monsters, which is pretty awesome because the old one excluded fly units. It was infantry that didn't fly. Now it includes fly.
Uh,
Which is awesome. Target is one Adeptus Astartes unit from our army that's within engagement range of that enemy unit. Roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if accept any challenge, no matter the odds. Vow is active for your army. On a 4+, that enemy cannot fall back this phase and must remain stationary. So this is a buff over the other one because the other one was just a straight 4 up. They can't do it. Now we get to add 1 if AAC is active. So we could doing this on a 3+, which is awesome. And then it says otherwise, so if you fail, there's still a bonus. So your CP isn't wasted. Otherwise, that enemy unit can fall back this phase, but if it does, all models in that unit must take a Desperate Escape test, which Desperate Escape is not fun. So yeah. So I really like this. This is a huge improvement over the original, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
oh, definitely. And
it's
if
definitely
we can
one of
get it
the
on a
yeah.
three, it's really powerful.
Hmm. Yep.
Much more
Especially,
reliable.
It's utility.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it necessarily used certainly not every turn or even every game, but we need to have that in our pocket, especially with all the other, like the Space Marines that are also going to be doing their fallback shoot shenanigans. We need to prevent that from happening, and I'm sure there's going to be others that have that crap too. So
yeah. Excuse me, guys, just one second. All right, sorry guys, my dog was trying to eat something, so seems we
Uh,
have all kinds of pet problems today.
uh,
So, moving along, we have our next set of stratagems here, and the first one is going to be Armor of Contempt. So, this is great because this is basically the Armor of Contempt rule. You can use it in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase. So it is your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase. So you can't use it in our own fight phase, which is kind of disappointing. But more often than not, I think we're going to be using this when we either get charged by something or that's scary, or get shot by something that's scary. So I think it's going to be mostly okay in that respect. And then basically you choose one unit that was the target of it, and we reduce the AP by 1. So really can't complain about this. This is also in the Gladius detachment, which is fantastic because this is going to help us slog across the board, especially with like a 20-man Crusader squad, with neophytes with a 4-up, Terminators, any big foot slogging unit. This is going to really benefit.
Definitely.
For sure. I see this being used more often in early game, and kind of
Yeah.
slack off as things go on, because later on we're going to definitely be using that no escape,
Yeah.
devout push to move around the board and
Yep.
in their face a lot more. But getting across that board is always a struggle for us, because we don't get that speed or the toughness that I don't. Death Guard, sorry, no, never mind.
Right. So, moving along here, our next one is Vicious Riposte. Now, this strat has gone from in previous renditions from good to bad, and now I think it's back to good. So, it's 1 CP. It's in the fight phase just after our enemy unit has selected targets. So, we're getting charged by those, super deadly block of Sangard or something. And you target one of our units that was the target of one or more of the attacking units' attacks. And then the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6 on adding 1 to the result if Uphold the Honor of the Emperor vow is active for your army on a 4+. Do not remove the destroyed model from play. It can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks and is then removed from play. So this is pretty awesome. There is one that's, I think it's called Honor the Chapter in the Gladius detachment, where they just automatically get to fight. That is 2 CP. So we get a discount, and if Uphold is our active vow, we can do this on a 3+. I'm
Yeah.
pretty okay with that. I'd rather have, the CP discount, I think, because CP is going to be very precious for us, and not having to pay 2 CP for something like that is definitely much better. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be really big for the 20-man blob, and then I'd like to take a big squad of Terminators. Either and if the Terminate, like you said, when we're up against something that really punches hard, then those getting those attacks back from our Terminators is huge.
It kind of just goes without saying, this is just going to be super, super useful in so many different ways.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely see this being used, especially when we are going to get attacked by something that's just as dangerous in melee as we are. So it's a nice, not necessarily a deterrent. They're probably going to attack us anyway, but it's a nice way to get some swings in for a CP and kill some models back. With some of our models that are deceased, X
Exactly.
models.
Uh,
So
well, it'll be way better than what it is, from 9th edition.
yeah, exactly. All right, so and then we come to Crusader's Wrath. This one is awesome. So 1 CP. If you guys remember, this was the one on a 6 to wound or something. We got an extra AP in the old supplement, which was awful and nobody used it. But now you use it in the fight phase, so we can't use it in shooting, which makes sense. We're Templars, right? We choose one of our units that has not been selected to fight, obviously. And then until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. If Suffer Not the Unclean to Live is active for your army, add 1 to the strength of the characteristic of that attack as well. So this is awesome. It's free AP for a CP, and when you tack this onto a 20-man Crusader squad or a blob of Terminators or Sword Bros, remember AP is down in this edition, so being able to get Chainswords to AP2 or Thunder Hammers or Power Weapons to AP3 is really, really important and really powerful.
Definitely, it'll make enemy units go by real fast.
Yes. And the extra strength if you're in Suffer Not is pretty awesome. I like that they have like added a bunch of situational buffs to if you're in a specific vow, which is really cool and flavorful. I really like that a lot. And it makes it all that more fun for us, not so much with our enemies.
Huh.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm just kind of math hammering this real quick, and that just looking at a Primaris Crusader squad, that does put it up to 5s, right? Which is now you're on parity with other elite units in their toughness.
Yep.
So you're at least got a 50% chance at that point. And then with lethal hits, because you're assuming that you're in Suffer Not the Unclean, again, elite units, it's really ideal for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a super chat, Austin, son of Sigismund. Thank you so much for that. He asks, can we use the first strat in combo with the others? By first strat, I think you asking if we can use Fervent Acclamation. Is that the one you're speaking of? If that's what you mean, we can use it, but it's not going to count for the one that's active for our army because it's only active for that unit. So unfortunately, in that case, no. But that being said, awesome all around. What do you guys think of our 6 stratagems?
I don't have any complaints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all
Which
hot.
I mean, at an early point in an edition, I think that's just a win all around, really.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Mike asked, does the Sword Brethren have to take a Castellan? And if you do, can you add an Apothecary and add them to it? So, the Castellan in the Sword Brethren unit is not the character. It's basically the sergeant. They named him poorly. It should have been Sword Brethren Sergeant, but he's technically a Sword Brethren Castellan. I don't know.
It's very confusing.
It is very confusing. He's not the character Castellan. You can add another Castellan on top of them. However, any character that can join an intercessor squad can also join Sword Brethren. So I think apothecaries can join intercessors. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
The
So
Primaris
yes,
Apothecary,
you
and
could
I
join the
think the
apothecary. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the biologist can as well. But
He
I don't
can
see
only
him
join the
contributing very
Gravis
fast.
dudes.
Oh, is he
he's just crap.
Gravis?
Yeah, he's Gravis only.
Yeah, I didn't really look too
Basically,
hard
it's
into him
like
'cause I didn't see
like
my using
armor
him.
together, or if they have something special like a jump pack, those can go together. Is sort of how they did it, and I like that because now you're not
Mhm.
like, here's my biker chaplain with my foot slogging dudes. That it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
more scene.
So T1 says, if I bring my GDCR with my sword bros, who do I stick with Helbrecht? I mean, more sword bros.
I mean, I'm looking at sticking Helbrecht in a Land Raider with a bunch of Crusaders.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing too.
So
That's a
Yeah.
thing too. So, um, so yeah. Bob says, remember we get 3 characters. I don't know what you mean by that. We can take
up
as
to
many
3 epic
characters.
heroes, I believe is
Well,
what it
And
is.
it's just one epic hero, right?
it's
One
one
of
of
each type.
one of each
What's
epic
that?
hero. So
Oh,
you can't have
really?
2 Helbrechts, is what that's preventing.
But you could have Helbrecht and
And Grimaldus.
oh,
And the
okay, I
Emperor's
didn't realize
Champion.
that.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we can have as many characters as we want. We just need to have one. There's no,
Oh,
and
that's
3 of
really
each
nice.
data sheet. Yeah. So so you can have 3 captains theoretically. I don't know why you would.
You don't even have to go for that. It's as little as a character, so you can actually have just an apothecary.
Yep.
And that would
That would fulfill the requirements. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we need a Black Templar apothecary. Lex says. Well, we kind of have one because the Primaris apothecary is wearing a full tabard. I mean, it doesn't get much more Black Templar than that.
Oh,
All right, so let's take a look at our enhancements. We have 4 of them, just like everyone else. And we're going to start with Perdition's Edge, which you remember was the axe, which was, it was okay. So it will improve the strength and armor penetration characteristics of a bearer's melee weapon by 1. So that's solid. If you're trying to make sort of like a fighty, marshal or captain or something like that, you can certainly do so. I like that bonus there. And then you get something else, which is if Suffer Not is active for your army, add 1 to the attacks characteristic as well. So this is pure offensive melee buff. I
That's real
think,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's solid if you're looking for a fighty character. The Primaris captain or marshal, comes to mind because they have that once per game. Give me 3 attacks or something like that. It's basically like a single-use combat buff thing. So if you just need to dive in and kill something, you're gonna be able to do that a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And then just on top of that, the 1 extra attack on Suffer Not is the lethal hits.
Hmm.
So you're just
You're
potentially
just
stacking
auto
those
wounding.
sixes, especially with Oath of Moment
Yeah.
on some of these things. You can just stack that damage.
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of stacking.
Yeah,
It's-
there's a lot of synergy that I have
Mhm.
noticed with our units and our enhancements and our stratagems. So I'm really excited. We're gonna have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks on this channel about the synergy and the different combos that we can do. So yeah, looking forward to that. So next up, Sigismund's Seal, another one from the old one. Remember that gave you full rerolls to hit and wound against 1 unit. It was okay, I think, in 9th edition. I felt like it was too targeted, where your opponent could easily just nullify your 20-point upgrade by not getting that unit close to what you were or taking down your unit first. So what this does is it improves the attacks characteristic of the bearer's melee weapon by 1, which is okay. But then, while he's leading the unit, if Accept Any Challenge is active for your army, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, successful unmodified hit roll of 5 scores a critical hit. So critical hits are basically 6s to hit, and it allows you to, if you're basically if you have Accept Any Challenge going, you're going to be having those sustained hits, those exploding hits on 5+ for the whole unit. So if you're planning to run a lot of Accept Any Challenge, maybe because you know your meta pretty well and you're fighting a lot of things that are not super high toughness that you need one of the other vows for, this can be really good because now you're getting exploding hits on 5s and 6s, which is nice.
I kind of almost see these two, Perdition's Edge and Sigismund Seal. You throw them on a character, each of them with like in a PCS, whether foot slogging or in transports. And so no matter what you take, you have a unit that can capitalize on that very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Steve, how do you like
you
this
could
one?
also do like a Sword Brethren squad with a commander or a captain or
Yep.
what have you to do the same
Yep.
thing.
It's a great combo.
Yeah. And then Witch Seeker Bolts. This one is hilariously good. It somehow got better. So the bear's ranged weapons, so you don't just pick one anymore. The bear's ranged weapons have the Precision, Anti-psyker 4+, and Devastating Wounds ability. So that means when you shoot at a psyker and you roll a 4+ to wound, it turns the attack into mortal wounds, which is pretty awesome when you can get like some multi-damage character ranged weapons on here, which there are several. Could be pretty spicy for that. And then its bonus is for the unit. If the Abhor the Witch, Destroy the Witch vow is active for your army, each time the bearer makes a ranged attack that targets a psyker unit, you can re-roll the hit roll and re-roll the wound roll. This is really just a goodbye psychers relic here. So if you face a lot of psychers, you're gonna want to be taking this one because it gives you the ability to just nuke a squad, a unit that has that keyword.
Yeah, this one I feel is very meta dependent. Like my local meta, I probably will not even look at taking this. Just there's psychers, but there's not enough psychers to where fervent acclamation won't be able to handle them.
Yeah.
If you follow me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things like this is if you have like a lot of Grey Knights and a lot of even demons or Thousand Suns
Yeah.
or even Eldar who spam psychers, this could be really good to have in there. So
Because these we can't choose game to game. This is at army creation that these are chosen, as far as I'm aware. So you have to put a little bit more thought into these. But again, like I say, I think it's more meta dependent. Or if you're tailoring.
Yeah, which we try not to
Exactly.
do list tailoring on here.
No.
At least not towards a specific game or match.
Right.
Right.
Certainly tailor to your meta, right?
Right.
So, like in my meta, I've got somebody who plays Eldari. I've got somebody who runs multiple psychers in Death Guard. I've got a Chaos Space Marine player who, and Tyranid players all have a lot of psychers.
Oh yeah.
If you've got a Thousand Suns player and Grey Knights players, yeah, if you're running into a lot of psychers, you're gonna want to take psycher things, right? Because it helps
no
with
doubt.
that.
Definitely.
So Ultimentra says maybe the Phobos captain. Yeah, he would be a good option for it. His damage did go down to 2 on that weapon, but you know, still, it can plink off some, two mortal wounds for each shot. I think it only has one shot though. That's the only hang up is you want to with this the way it is now, because you can fire that gun. It fires all its shots now. So now you really kind of want volume of fire to try to trigger as many as you can versus the single shot.
Right.
Lux asks, can you give these enhancements to every unit? No, they can only go on characters. But I think you
And
get
not epic heroes.
yeah, not epic heroes, named characters essentially. I think you can have up to 3 for free in
That's what
a
I'm. Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah. So, and the last one, T-Bones. I'm glad that this survived because it was one of my favorite relics from the uh, 9th edition supplement, and it's just a fun name, right? So this one is not quite as potent as it was, but also characters have a lot more protection now. Still pretty good. Each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, have the damage characteristic of that attack. So that's pretty awesome. And then, while the bearer is leading a unit, if Uphold the Honor of the Emperor vow is active for your army, models in that unit have a 5+, a Feel No Pain 5+ ability. That's awesome.
Huge.
This is definitely one of the best ones.
Oh, definitely.
No doubt. Tannhauses is always it's a perennial favorite anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only disappointed there's no holy hand grenade.
Yeah. Sadly. But this one is fantastic, especially slap this on a chaplain, a Terminator chaplain, with
Oh, yeah.
a block of Terminators, and you march those suckers up the field. You got a 2+ save, a 4+ invulnerable, a 5+ feel no pain, and then if someone's like, "Well, I'm gonna punch you with some mortals," now we got a 4+ against those too. So it's gonna make them super tanky, which is awesome. So.
Yeah.
What if it's 3 damage? Then you need to cut one of your damage markers in half and put that. No, I don't know. Honestly, we don't know. Hopefully, they're going to clarify that in a designer's commentary, because there's also the question of things that say -1 damage. Does that make
Redemptor?
it the Redemptor? Does that make it immune to damage 1 weapons? Somehow, I don't think GW is going to allow that. So we'll have to
At the
see.
same time, I
really
don't hate the idea of that, at least the mechanic of how that works.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
But
We'll see how it goes.
I don't think it's their intent.
I don't think it's their
honestly.
intent either, based on previous games, So.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Plus, I don't think most people would like that.
yeah, that would be kind of cheesy. And
Yeah.
Redemptors would be the only dreadnought
yeah,
you'd want to run
You'd see triple
Yeah,
Redemptor
that
glyphs
too.
all over the place.
all over the place. So, and I don't that's not what GW wants with this. They want each unit to have their own place in the army. And honestly, overall, I think they've done a great job of that. Every unit has something unique about them that makes them potentially worthwhile taking, except Vanguard vets. In
Oof.
in the
I feel that.
yeah, it's like one of those. It's like thank you very much for not you. One of those memes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh well.
so yeah. In any case, let's keep on moving here and
Dive
check
into
out
the
dive
data sheets.
into the data sheets. So first up
Wow.
is our boy Chaplain Grimaldus.
Yeah.
So
Let's go, Grimmy.
let's go Grimmy. So I love Grimaldus. They definitely did him justice. I really couldn't have asked for anything better from him. He's pretty strong. I think he lost a wound. He went down to 4 wounds.
Like yeah, all
Um,
the characters have lost wounds.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Helbrecht lost 3 wounds.
yeah, which really hurts.
It
But
kind of puts them at parity with other chapter masters, at least.
yeah, and the other thing too is that like I said, characters have more protection now because they can have a bodyguard unit.
Exactly.
Grimaldus' servitors, I mean, you're gonna kill them first anyway, because you're not gonna kill Grimaldus.
Huh.
um, but and the cool thing is you don't lose buffs anymore when they die. Only when all 3 are dead,
Right?
which is
That's
really
amazing.
important.
I always had my order when he dies. This one dies first. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. Also, a note that the servitors have a 3+ save now, which is pretty dope. Somehow
That
they have
is.
power armor.
That's
Um,
crazy.
so in any case, otherwise his stat line is standard, Space Marine stat line. He's got his plasma pistol, which thankfully will no longer auto kill him. Although I don't think 3 mortal wounds. I don't think I'll be rolling that hazardous for him. Um, so he has core rules. He's got Feel No Pain 5+. He's a leader. Of course, he has Oath of Moment. His Artificer Crosius is got 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, Strength 6, AP 2, Damage 2, which is very nice. Solid melee profile there. And then he's got Litanies of the Devout. While Chaplain Grimaldus is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. So this is important because we have Oath of Moment, obviously, but we're not always going to have everything going into that one unit. So this gives us full rerolls on another target, which is pretty important for 2 of our vows where we have auto wounds on 6s and exploding hits on 6s, where we can sort of fish for those 6s, right? So, or things like weapons that may hit on a 4+, which I don't know that he can join too many units that have that. But in any case, and then he has Templar relics in your command phase. If this unit contains 1 or more, so all you need is 1 left alive. Although I don't think that they can be killed until the bodyguard unit is dead.
Right. I think so
So
too.
yeah,
yeah, no, that's how it works.
we'll also need clarification if he can like pawn off mortal wounds on the guys. Like, I feel like we need clarification on if he were to take either precision attacks or um, hazardous from his pistol or something like that. Like, how does that work? Where can we allocate wounds? Like, can we put like a couple on the Cenobites and then 1 on Grimaldus? I don't
Yeah,
I
I
know.
have a
think
sneaking
I think we
suspicion
could.
you have to declare before you roll what that roll is going on, but
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
That's
could be wrong.
that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess we're gonna find out because he's one of the few multi-model character units.
Mhm.
In any
Exactly.
case, you as long as contains 1 or more Cenobite servitors, select one of the relics of the Emperor Ascendant ability C left. Until the start of your next command phase, this unit's Chaplain Grimaldus model has that ability. Banner of the Fallen Crusaders. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in which it advanced or fell back. That is
Hello.
dope.
Super
Hello.
5.
Advance and charge is back, baby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
long missed. A lot of people complained about it not being there in our supplement, and now it's back, which is amazing in my opinion. So
Yeah.
really strong ability there.
And Crusaders
Um,
reroll charges in advance. So
Yep.
it's like,
Yep. We'll get to them in a second,
shoot.
but that definitely helps when he's with a block of Crusaders. And then we've got Remnant of the Fallen Temple. Models in this unit have a Feel No Pain 5+. Okay. A free Feel No Pain 5+. We remember how great that ability was with the Divine Protection Litany. Grimaldus gives it to his whole squad, which is fantastic. And then lastly, improve the AP characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this models in this unit by 1. So he can do damage, he can make us move faster, or he can give us a Feel No Pain. Every one of these is excellent and situationally good depending on where you are in the game, in the battlefield, etc. Really, I could not have asked for anything more. Like, 'cause some of these like pick one abilities on some of the other epic heroes have been like, this one's the best, this one's okay, and that one I'm never going to use. And
Definitely.
there's a use for every single one of these.
Is it per turn or per battle phase?
It is you choose at the start of your command phase,
Okay,
and it lasts until
Mhm.
your next command phase. So you get a whole battle round basically
that's pretty
of
sweet.
it. It's awesome.
Uh,
So, really excited about Grimaldus. He is definitely excellent. Let's take a look at the back of his data sheet here, where it tells us what he can attach to. And it is Assault Intercessor Squad, Infernus Squad, Intercessor Squad, and then Primaris Crusaders and Primaris Sword Brethren, of course. Honestly, I think he is going to be great either with Primaris Crusaders or Primaris Sword Brethren. Um, I don't see him going with any of those other two.
Well, I
But
mean, he wouldn't be terrible in an Assault Intercessor squad, but I
no,
mean, why would you take an Assault Intercessor squad when you have a Primaris Crusader squad? Is
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
where I'm sitting.
Assault Ints
It,
are pretty good, but I think PCS are just better.
right,
Definitely.
exactly. And then the Infernus squad is just like a why,
Yeah, those to
in
me
my
feel like a
mind.
suicide squad where you're just gonna like walk up,
Yeah,
flame something to battle shock them, and then or Overwatch them, and then that's it.
I honestly wouldn't attach a character to one of that squads.
No,
Just
No.
they don't
yeah.
need it.
Paint at Dawn says I was excited for Grimaldus until I found out you can't use him with anything. Not sure what you mean. He can go with the two squads really that we we absolutely want him to go with, which are Crusaders and Sword Bros, both of which he's going to be excellent with.
Stellar with.
Yeah. So maybe Painted Dawn can elaborate for us a little bit there. All right, so moving right along here into the Firstborn Crusader Squad. And I'll be honest, when I first read through the data sheets this morning, I skipped right over this one.
Me too.
This is your Black Templars miniature Devastator squad, is what
Yeah,
I'm seeing.
yeah. So
Exactly.
basically, we're back to some people call it like the mini dev or faux dev or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. The old Las Plaz squad from the days of
Yeah,
fifth
yeah.
edition is back.
I miss
So
those.
depending on what their points are like,
Points.
it could be worth it.
Yeah.
Something to note, we talked about this on the live stream Friday when scouts got an extra wound. So too did our firstborn neophytes. So which solved one of the problems with them, which was the neophytes were worthless at whatever they were costing because it's one wound model.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I mean they have rerolls to advance and charge, which is pretty cool. We're not going to be putting these guys in the fray because their maximum attacks for the chainsword is 3, which is just not not what we want from a combat unit. So at best, these guys will be backline objective sitters with like a las cannon and a plasma gun or something along those lines, and just plinking some shots here and there.
Exactly.
So, Marshall Neal asks, so is Grimaldus still 4 characters or 1? He's 1 unit of 4 models, a character unit of 4 models. Um, so,
That's why we need a little bit of clarification because it's just a weird place right now. Is what I'm
so
picking up.
Painted Dawn says I don't use Primaris. Yes, that would definitely put a craw of a put a wrench in your plans for sure.
Mhm.
And they don't even have a Legends data sheet for him, which for the Firstborn one, which is unfortunate. I thought they probably would have, but I guess not. In any case, moving along here, they have all the same options they've always ever had. Anyone who can join a tactical squad can also join this unit, character-wise. So, but again, we're not going to be doing that more than likely. So, um, these guys are basically going to sit on the back line and do pretend devy things. So, moving on to the man himself, High Marshal Helbrecht. So he, as Steve pointed out, has lost 3 wounds, which is disappointing to say the least, especially given his giant ass base. But
If he costs less points, I think it's fine.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
Honestly, he was pretty cheap at 140 points at the end of
Yeah,
9th
he
edition
was.
anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I know I'm not the only one that did the math. If you tried to get the same effect out of a normal Marshal in 9th, it cost you 160 plus points. You had
That's
to
it.
pay more for less.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly. Still rocking a 2+ save. Still got a 4+ invulnerable. Ferocity is now no longer the combi melta profile because they've gotten rid of combi style weapons. But it is 2 shots, anti-infantry 4+ with devastating wounds at strength 5, AP 1, and damage 2. So it's not bad.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
did not see that anti-infantry 4. That
Yeah.
is very good.
Yeah, because that means it's going to cause 2 mortal wounds on a 4+ to wound, which is great.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Which is
that's
great.
fantastic.
And he hits on 2s, and
Yeah, that's way better than combi.
yeah. Although I did have fun with the Melta, like always having +2.
Oh, that was so
Right?
sweet.
So, so yeah, and then his melee weapons, he's got the Sword of the High Marshals. Still has 2 profiles for it. So one-handed is melee 12 attacks, which I think is pretty close to what he had. I think he had 14 on the charge previously. But again, they've toned down lethality, so weapon skill 2+, hit 6 strength, AP 3, damage 1. So having AP 3 is pretty nice. Given that most power weapons went down to AP 2. And then he's got two-handed, the strike swing, which is half the number of attacks, but it's strength 8, AP 3, and 3 damage. So still pretty beefy melee profile for him, which is great. And then his special abilities, Crusade of Wrath. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the strength characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit, and each time an attack is made with such a weapon, a successful unmodified hit roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. So note that he equipped by models in that unit, so he counts as part of the unit for all rules purposes. So theoretically, he adds his 1 to his own strength, making him strength 7 and strength 9 respectively, which is pretty good. I'm assuming that's how that works, right? Because it's model
Yeah.
characters by
That's what
models
I'm
in that
reading.
unit. Yeah.
Yeah, I read it that way too.
Yeah. And then he has the High Marshal at the start of the fight phase. Please select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model's unit and roll 1d6. 2 to 3, that enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 to 5, they suffer 3, and on a 6, they suffer d3 plus 3 mortal wounds, which is pretty awesome. That
Heck
definitely ups his combat potential, as it were,
I
making up
think
for
we
those
skipped
lost
over some
couple
of
attacks.
that second half of Crusade of Wrath. That's even nastier than the first half.
Yeah, the unmodified hit roll scores a critical hit, which means
Yeah,
that if you are under the effects of Suffer Not,
or accept any challenge.
or accept any challenge, you're triggering those abilities on a 5+,
yeah.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, crazy.
Someone says, doesn't matter how many wounds he has, nothing will survive Crusade of Wrath.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, So yeah, he's going to be great either with a block of Crusaders or Primaris Sword Brethren. And speaking of which, he can join both of those, and as well as an Intercessor Squad or Assault Intercessor Squad, which I don't see us doing. He's going to be in one of those other two.
Frankly, yeah.
Yeah.
because that's that's where he's going to make the most out of. Don't forget too, if he joins Sword Brethren, his sword gets the +1 damage if they choose that ability. So,
Yeah, I think that's a really good place to stick him.
or a +1 attack,
Yeah.
also nice.
Less
So
useful for him, I think, but
less useful for him, but you know, you never know when you need to punch something big. So.
oh, no doubt, no doubt.
All right, so Primaris Crusader Squad. Nobody wanted to believe that this unit had Scout.
Oh,
So, but here we are with Primaris Crusaders who have Scout. And it's Scout 6 inches is pretty fantastic. This allows us to do a number of different things. They can either get to some terrain. If we have first turn, it lets us get closer. Things like that. So, yeah, having Scout
This
is
opens a
pretty
lot
boss.
of like this is foot slogging first turn charge material right
oh,
here.
that's huge.
Especially with like
huge.
Grimaldus in a PCS squad, if that whole scout issue gets facked out one way or the other.
Yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, there was a massive discussion on the Discord channel today about this. So if Grimaldus joins a PCS squad, does he get Scout or not? Now, we're not going to dive into it here. If you really want to slog through the entire conversation of our our Discord earlier today, you're welcome to.
All 6 hours.
You could also go into Discord and use the question mark and type in Scouts and see the dilemma from Carlbot. He'll post it for you, courtesy of you, Rogue. So thank you for that. So basically, the too long do not read is there's contradicting information and it needs a fact. So the best thing to do for all of you watching, whether you're watching live with us right now or later on, please go to GW's FAQ email address, send them this question so we can get it answered, because the more people that ask it, the more likely it is to be answered. So, you know, we definitely want to get an answer to this because it's kind of huge, because he's got the advance in charge, so it will let us know whether, you know, we can scout, move, and then
If we
advance
can
and then
stack
charge.
it, that makes a huge
Oh, yeah.
difference in list building.
It's definitely
Yeah, and Crusaders can re-roll charges.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's like crazy.
Which is pretty
good.
awesome. Which is pretty awesome. So looking at the rest of the data sheet, it's pretty much what we expect from their stat lines, from their weapons and things like that. Power Fist, 3 attacks, but Strength 8, AP 2, hitting on 3s now, which is nice, like that from Power Fist.
Wow.
Standard power weapon on the Sword Bro, who does not get 3 wounds, by the way. He just has 2 wounds like everybody else.
He's like the Castellan.
Yeah, so you know, which is fine. I'm not fussed by that. The big thing that I noted here, which is another buff over 9th edition stat lines, is they have 5 attacks each with a chainsword.
Oh, it's
Previously,
crazy.
they had 4 on the charge. Now they have 5 base, just all the time.
Oh,
Which means that a 20-man blob, should it make it to its target intact, has 75 chainsword attacks.
oh.
95
Which
is the number
is
I heard.
It
Perfect
would be
numbers.
it would be, I believe, 75, because you're gonna take 4 power fists.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Subtract-
if you're
yeah,
talking like
subtract
just
5.
raw numbers, you're definitely getting to
Yeah.
95.
Yeah,
But you're right.
16 times 5.
I'm taking 4 power fists, even though there's
Yeah,
only
no
3
doubt. I am
attacks.
too.
I'm taking 4
Yeah.
power fists, hitting on 3s. Yes.
Heck yeah.
So
yeah, that 3s is crazy.
yeah. So
That's
5 attacks
crazy.
base is insane, especially when you consider we can get exploding hits. We get, if Grimaldus is with them, we can reroll fish for auto wounds. Or I did the math. Just the chainswords alone, if we now Grimaldus, you note, I want to note something here. So Grimaldus can have the thing where you give +1 AP, and then we have Crusader's Wrath, which is another +1 AP. So
Oh my lord.
so that
And
means that chainswords are AP 3.
Woo.
And don't forget, with no matter which one you take, with suffer not or accept any challenge, you're taking one. So say you took lethal hits as your army rule, you 1 CP that unit for fervent acclamation, and now they're lethal hits and sustained hits.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
geez.
I just did some quick napkin math earlier today, and with the chainswords being AP 3, and fishing for 6s. Just the 6s that you fish on average will cause 18 wounds to a knight.
Oh wow.
So that's pretty nuts. So now, granted, that's a full 20-man squad attacking, which they got to make it there. I don't expect all 20 to make it there. We're gonna lose some along the way because they're gonna hear, oh, there's 5 attacks and you can do what? Yes, I'm shooting that squad. So some of them are gonna die, but just throw out some napkin math just for fun. That's pretty gross.
I
So
mean, you could also argue just deliver them in a Land Raider and have a few less models at the beginning.
yeah, 15 or 16.
If you might have catched, I'm a huge Land Raider Crusader fan.
Oh, I have 2 of them. I have 2 of them
Back
painted.
in the day, man.
Painted on my shelf, waiting to see use.
Oh yeah.
So
We're back on the menu.
yep, they are definitely back on the menu. So let's take a look at the back of their sheet here. They are same composition as they were previously. Same gear loadout options. So yeah, so we can basically do all the same things that we could in 9th with them. And then attached unit, if a character can attach to an intercessor squad, they can attach to this squad. So, so yeah, love them. Crusaders are going to be a staple of our list, I think, going forward.
So nothing's changed.
So nothing's changed.
Exactly.
So now we're up to Primaris Sword Bros. Now we saw the front of this data sheet in the faction focus preview. So we already know how I feel about them. I'm super excited. Apparently, lightning claws not being a thing is a thing. Unfortunately, it was not a mistake. So that being said, these guys are still really awesome and
yeah.
pretty gross. So
Still got the Thunderhammer.
still got the Thunderhammer, which has devastating wounds. So when you attack a psyker unit with it, it just causes mortal wounds on a 4-up. And then it can be damage 3, if you want to. So, Sword Bros are fantastic. Take a look at the back of their data sheet, which we did not know. Everything is still the same with them. And if a character from your army with the leader ability can attach to an intercessor squad, they can also attach to this squad, which is great. So now the Sword Brother Castellan. He starts with a heavy bolt pistol and chainsword. That's this dude right here with the autoplasma. It can be swapped for a combi weapon and a chainsword, a combi weapon and a mastercrafted power weapon, or a heavy bolt pistol and a mastercrafted power weapon. So yeah, which is pretty awesome. And he hits on 2s with a damage 2 weapon. Of course, you're going to take the mastercrafted weapon. So yeah. Also of note in here, these guys can now go to 11. So somebody insert the meme of the what's that movie with
Turn
the
it
rock?
up to 11.
Yeah, they're like, well, these go to 11. So yeah, it's like, well, but why wouldn't you just make 10 the highest? It's like, but these go to 11, so we need that extra little bit, So Spinal Tap, that's the name of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That's good stuff.
these guys go to 11. That's gonna be my new phrase. Um, so yeah, you could slap 11 of these dudes in a Land Raider Crusader with Grimaldus and go to town.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go shred.
So I'm a little sad that we don't get the dual lightning claws, the twin linked lightning claws, but at the same time, maybe it was too much in their playtesting. I don't know. We get a
They kind of
mastercrafted
just
power
got rid
weapon.
of them bulk, though, didn't they? For the most part,
Except for
No.
Terminators. Terminators and characters that have them
Yeah.
are still get the lightning claw thing.
Yeah. I think it's a cool looking model with the lightning claws.
Oh, it's
It has that
classic.
Wolverine. It's kind of a Wolverine pose.
Yeah, well, and it's
Yeah.
it's based off the original, the old school Sword Bro model. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
same pose, except better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Which
I'm
incidentally,
not like remodeling it by any means.
oh no, I'm just gonna
Me
stick them in
either.
there.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna stick them in there. So, and I even made like a dude who's like charging forward, like I converted him.
Oh,
where
there
he's
you
like,
go.
Where he's like swinging his claws. So I spent a lot of time
That's
on that
cool.
guy. I'm definitely gonna field him. So, all right. So let's move it along to a fan favorite, the Emperor's Champion. Now, a lot of people are down on this data sheet, and understandably, we were kind of probably we were all hoping for something similar to the company champion with like fights first and a bunch of buffs to the squad and whatnot, and we didn't get that.
Big beat stick.
But instead, what we got is I think he keeps the same profile. I think he had 5 wounds before. I don't think he had
Yeah.
6. He's got a 2+, 4+ save. He's got skillful parry once per phase. When a melee attack is allocated to this model and the saving throw is failed, you can, note on can, change the damage characteristic of that attack to 0. So he's got the impossible robe from the Zinj armory here, which is great because it's better than the Infiltrator's Helix, which was the same way. That was the first failed saving throw of the turn. This is when he fails a saving throw per phase.
Exactly.
And if it's like a damage 1, you can be like, no, I'm not going to. But then it's like, oh, but a damage 3 comes through and I fail that. Yes, I'm going to turn that to 0.
Exactly.
So that's really crucial. It ups his durability quite a bit, in my opinion. So I like that.
Yeah.
And then he's got Sigismund's Air. Each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So
He's going to be wounding a lot of stuff on 2s.
he's going to be wounding a lot of stuff on 2s. That's right. And his black sword got a buff for certain. The strike no longer takes a -1 to hit. It also has precision, which means he can pick out characters. Note that now
Exactly.
with precision, it's pretty cool because you are you don't have to be in base contact or anywhere near that character. You just get precision and you allocate the wounds to the character, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
So
because the reduction in wounds, if 2 go through, it's going to kill most enemy characters.
yeah, he's damage 3, and it's strength 8, AP 3. He's gonna, strength 8 is most characters is gonna be he's gonna at least win them on 3s, and with the +1 to wound, he's wounding them on 2s. So he's hitting on 2s, he's wounding on 2s. You're gonna get some shots through. I think he's still really nasty in melee. I know we had the like reroll wounds and hits business in 9th edition, but don't forget there was a lot more -1 to hit and -1 to wound and that kind of stuff going on in 9th edition. There's not as much of
I
Exactly.
that
think
in
his
10th.
his overall strength is really going to be defined by how much he costs. When we find out
Yeah.
points on Friday, we'll be able to really say,
Yeah.
Yep.
is he nerfed or is he fine?
If he's 150 points, I don't know that I'm taking him very much.
Nerfed at that point.
But
right?
if he's 100 points, like or around 100 points, I think he's absolutely worth it. His sweep attack got better too. Now it's 10
Oh, yeah.
attacks. 10
Right?
And
attacks.
still 2
So
damage, right?
he can mulch through a bunch of 1 wound infantry if he needs to. So
Yeah.
And stick him with the sword bros, and he can get +1 attack or +1 strength.
Exactly.
So, which,
And
speaking of which, here's the back of his thing. He can indeed go with sword bros and crusaders, and I think he's probably going to be best with sword bros.
Me too.
He can weirdly go with stern guard. I don't know what the thought process is there.
veterans, I guess. Maybe. I'm trying.
Yeah. I don't
So that's
see the
weird.
synergy. I don't see the synergy.
Maybe it's like, don't charge me. I have a nasty
Well,
guy
they
in
gotta
my
get the
squad.
new Stern Guard from Leviathan in there somehow.
That's true.
Yeah. So, whatever. We're gonna put him with PCS or sword bros, honestly. So
We've got what we need in there, so it doesn't
Yep.
really matter.
Yep, absolutely. So now we're on to the more generic data sheets. We've got the Castellan, who basically is the Primaris, I think, Primaris lieutenant. He's got tactical
Pretty
precision,
much.
gives the lethal hits, and the model is eligible to shoot and charge in a turn in which it fell back. So more falling back and shoot and charging, which is pretty awesome. He's got the combi weapon, of course, heavy bolt pistol. You can give him a mastercrafted power weapon or a chainsword. He's basically the same as the guy in the Space Marine Index. The big difference here is that he can also join Primaris Crusader Squad, Primaris Sword Brother, and Stern Guard for some reason. Which,
Makes more sense here, at least.
yeah, although Stern Guard have devastating wounds, I don't want them to be auto wounding. I want to roll those dice. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I want to
Yeah.
roll those dice to get the chance to get that mortal wound instead.
Exactly.
So weirdly, it says, hey, you can attach this model to one of the above units, even if one captain or chapter master model has been attached to. So notice he does not have the lieutenant thing here, which isn't that big of a deal for him, but it is because Helbrecht does not have chapter master or
Yeah, I
captain.
noticed that.
So Helbrecht rides alone. He,
Yeah.
I wonder if that was on purpose or not.
I don't know.
Maybe
know.
we should send that in with the fact questions too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
But you think about it though, if you were able to attach this guy with a Helbrecht squad, now they're auto wounding on 5s. Now we have
I
ways
mean,
to
it doesn't
accomplish
not make
that anyway.
sense.
We have ways to accomplish that anyway.
hmm
But
This makes it
I don't.
easier.
It makes it easier. So I don't know if that was intended or not. That's a good question for the FAQ team.
I mean, that's what
as
I
well.
mean. I
It is.
can't read intent on that one.
Yeah.
It could just be a simple
could be-
oversight, or
Could be either or. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Which same thing with this guy, the generic marshal, does not have the captain keyword, so he also rides alone.
Right.
And he's basically the Primaris captain data sheet, only with our specific weapons, which is plasma pistol or combi weapon. Which honestly, I'm not as high on this this loadout as I was in 9th edition, mostly because I really liked the auto flamer. Then this was before, I was running Helbrecht all the time instead because he was just such a beast in the
Yeah.
supplement.
I still think he's going to be a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Even
Oh, yeah.
compared to like
Oh,
this
yeah.
Marshal, looking at what you can get. I mean, points will say, but
I mean, Helbrecht got better. Like, yeah, he lost the rerolls, the chapter master ability, and the reroll
In the
ones, reroll things, but he still gets the plus strength. And now he's
Yeah.
doing something else which is better in my opinion than reroll hits.
Exactly.
And we have sources of that with Oath of Moment and that kind of stuff. So Helbrecht is still great. I know he lost wounds, but now he can have 30
ablative.
ablative,
small price to pay.
30 ablative wounds in the Sword Brethren squad.
Right? Yeah.
Although he did lose his little servitor guy's attacks, which always
Right.
killed someone. Always. Every time. Oh, I forgot these 2
Mine
attacks.
were bad shots. Mine
Oh,
were bad shots.
That's 2 more dead guardsmen. And the guardsmen are like, what just happened? Always. I never failed to, when I remembered to use them, I never failed to wound something with them.
Always worth.
It was always worth rolling those. When I could remember them, that was the other thing.
Hey, I mean, more dice are more dice. That's more chances for your enemy to
Yeah,
fail.
exactly.
I have a friend he killed Mortarion with the.
Oh, with the servitor?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What an insult, added injury, insult to injury.
Oh yeah.
I was doing a game a
Think
couple
about
weeks
it.
back, and I killed Angron with an exploding gladiator.
Oh man.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the comments here,
days.
see if we got any pertinent questions. It has to be an oversight, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If that ends up being the way they intended it, then it's not like we can't take the regular captain data sheet anyway, or the regular lieutenant data sheet. These loadouts are not that good that we're if we wanted to run 2 together,
Yeah.
a lieutenant with them or an apothecary with them, that we like wouldn't want to forsake this data sheet. Like the options are okay, but they're not
They're not that great.
they're not that great that we're going to be like, oh my god, I have to have this data sheet. It's just cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, the mortal wounds come from the thralls, and I refuse to believe otherwise.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. It's the one guy holding the melta going, here you are, my lord. Whoosh! Oh, sorry, my lord. It's like, you killed a heretic. Who cares? Because Grimaldus, or if you remember, if you've ever listened to Hell's Reach, either the novel or the audiobook, apparently Helbrecht talks like Skeletor.
No.
Give
I
me my
swear,
melta, you buffoons.
He does.
He's just a 6-pack a
does.
day kind of guy.
Apparently, he's hoarse from all those centuries yelling on the
Orders.
battlefield.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Ultimentra says it's hard to pass up a free strat, but the other characters are really good too. Yes. And I mean, there's nothing saying we can't run a Marshal alongside Helbrecht.
Yeah.
You know, so
2 different squads.
2 different squads. So
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to do a Gravis Captain. With
Gravis Captain's
Eradicate.
pretty solid now. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, and then let's see who this guy can roll with, and it's Assault Ints, Infernus, Intercessors, Primaris Crusader Squad, Primaris Sword Bros, and Stern Guard. So pretty decent selection there. Can't complain about
Seems
it.
familiar.
Seems familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh, uh, Azuma says Mark Hamill to voice Helbrecht. Yes, that would be amazing.
Like, yeah.
Mark Hamill's voice acting is so good.
I
That
could
would
get
be
behind
amazing.
that.
I can get
Yeah.
behind that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so yeah, so let's take a look at, oh, here's our vehicle data sheets.
I mean,
And
this is like 1 point on it, right? Multi-melt is for everything. Call it good.
Yeah.
literally every single one of these is a whole data sheet for one weapon option.
Exactly.
One
Well, I'm
weapon
glad
option.
that they're not going to just make it. You know, a lot of times when something comes
Can't
out,
say we
it
weren't
ends up going
expecting
to every
this, but
chapter.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
We get
Oh,
to
and
keep
here's
just
the armory
this
of
much.
things that weren't listed on the data sheets, but we already all know what these things are. So, so yeah. So that's our index, guys. I love it. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's really great, man.
the only thing that I am truly disappointed and sad about is no holy hand grenade.
Yeah.
And
I'll agree.
even though every time I made a list, it was the kind of thing where, okay, I want to stick this in here because it's the holy hand grenade, but I don't have the points, so that gets cut first.
Exactly.
But I
Yeah.
want to have the option to cut it from my army list. You know.
Yeah.
But memes aside, I think the Emperor's Champion is probably the weakest point here in the whole list. You know, foibles aside, like
And he's not weak. That's the thing.
No,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
No,
he's just the
saying
least
he's the weak.
impressive. I mean, like, you read
Yeah.
Grimaldus and everyone else is kind of like, oh, all right, that's fine, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Grimaldus is like,
it's all relative, right?
yeah,
He's not a shit character, right? I
No.
don't think he's that bad, but points are gonna tell if he really is worth it. Because the old Emperor's Champion was 90 points. Is this worth 90 points in your mind?
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
I
Even
think
if he's
so.
100 points, I'd take him at 100 points.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
expecting an across-the-board point increase for Space Marine armies in general,
Probably.
anyway.
Probably.
I mean, a lot of the heavier stuff for most armies, frankly, because GW stated they want less models on the table.
Well,
in the
and
same
I mean,
amount of points span.
I mean, Terminators are not going to stay 33 points a model. They buff the
Heck
hell.
no,
They buff the hell out of
no.
Terminator models. One thing
No.
I do hope that they do, at least in most cases, is continue with free war gear. Because for the most part, most of the weapons that we've seen thus far are pretty balanced against each other.
Yeah.
Especially like the Power Fist, Chain Fist, Thunderhammer. They're all basically equal. It's just
Yeah.
like the math works out almost identical for each one. So
Give or take within.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally, and that's what I'm seeing. Like, I mean, and aside from the couple little things that I think need a serious look at a FAQ, you know, the lieutenant captain issue, the chapter master issue, and then the scout issue. And it's not even just Grimaldus. It's frankly any of these leaders joining a Primaris Crusader squad. Do they get scout? It's not just Grimaldus.
It's Grimaldus, exactly. Obviously, Grimaldus is
the best of them.
He's the best of them because he gives advance and charge. So now they're Vanguard vets, essentially, if you go first.
Exactly.
Odious says, how would lethal sustained hits work with flamers? It doesn't, because you don't roll to hit. So is he useless with Infernus Squad? No, because you know, obviously that portion of it is, but you can fall back and shoot, which is awesome because it's like, oh, you charged me with something to try to tie me up, which you probably took a lot of damage on the way in with Overwatch.
With my Overwatch, yeah.
And then I'm gonna fall back and shoot you anyway. So
have fun with this.
Have fun with this. I don't know that I'd run a character with them, to be honest. I think that's a waste of the
I
character
wouldn't.
slot.
It, me
I
too.
feel like, to me, hopefully they're not going to be super expensive, but to me that feels like a Suicide Squad where I'm going to throw this unit out there, I'm going to flame some stuff, I'm going to be annoying with Overwatch, and I'm going to trigger battle shock tests with it. And maybe some Reavers will be nearby, and you'll take a -1 on it.
I mean,
So
part of me sits there and sees an Infernus squad set up in front of a Blade Guard squad with Judiciar. So you
Yeah.
have to get through the Infernus first, and then you have the tough nut to crack after that.
exactly.
Exactly.
You know, you're
Good
gonna
screen
lose so
squad.
much. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I see that as them. Burn says rip Blade Guards for vets for BT. No,
Judiciar and Blade Guard is gonna be tasty.
Oh
Blade
yeah.
Guard
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
and I like. We talked about this on Friday, but for those of you who haven't listened to that stream or weren't there, um, they have really separated Sword Bros and Blade Guard. The year and a half long debate is over. They've finally really separated them enough where what Bob and I have been saying all this time is now hopefully everyone can see, which is they serve different purposes. So the Blade Guard are very clearly the durable anti-tank unit that stands there and says, "Try to kill me, and if you get in combat with me, I'm going to kill you back." Versus the Sword Brethren are the cruise missile that goes and just murders.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Blade Guard, I always see the Blade Guard really well as like I've often put an apothecary in with them, run them up in an impulsor to an objective, and just say, "Come at me, bro."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
great.
kind of find that.
It's great. I like it. So
I love Sword Bro, or I love Blade Guard, but I have an awful lot of them. But
I have 10
you
myself.
know, yeah,
Yeah, they're cool.
but we'll take them.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the same extent,
No,
because Sword Bros are also just as good and probably
especially
have a.
Sword Bros and a Land Raider.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
right?
Ugh.
So, so yeah. Scrolling through the chat here. Any final questions that we got before we sign off? Yeah, Ultimentrum says free stratagem means free CP reroll for a failed charge. That's really important. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah. Unless it's Crusaders and they get to do it for free.
Yep.
Heyo.
Hey yo, which I like. Andrew says Sword Bros for Grimmy, the Feel No Pain, and a Land Raider Redeemer for Overwatch. Yeah, the Feel No Pain definitely ups the Sword Bros durability, which they have 3 wounds now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a
Does
big
the Redeemer get assault ramp though?
It does. All the
I-
Yes.
Land Raiders, all
Oh,
the
does
Land
it?
Raiders do. Yeah.
Is it
all
all
the
of them?
Redeemer's
Yep,
hot.
all 3.
Okay, I was completely wrong on that.
I think the
That's okay.
Redeemer's going to be a really top pick for Space Marines.
Yeah, those Flame Storm cannons are pretty dope.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
gonna be big
man.
then.
Which means that I now
They're
have to
2
buy another
damage.
Land Raider because both of mine are built as Crusaders.
Right. Ugh.
So,
Well, I mean, you just need to buy one normal one. I'm sure you have all the bits for the Redeemer stuff still.
I'll have to go look. I can't remember. If you saw my closet of
Ugh.
shame, you would understand.
Yeah.
There's so many boxes of bits and pieces and models and things, and yeah, I gotta go search for it and see if I still have it. I don't know if I do. I might have sold it. I don't remember.
Ugh.
So, in any case,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Really great stream. Chris says, late to this video, sorry if it was mentioned, the Gladiator Valiant, the Meltas has a typo. All the Meltas are strength 9. They are strength 10 in the standard data sheet. No,
Oh, wow.
they are strength 9 in the standard data sheet.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Let me look real quick to confirm that before I say
I'm
yes or
checking as
no.
well.
Warhammer 10th, Space Marine Index, Gladiator. Valiant.
Yeah, multi
Oh,
strict 9.
it is strength 10. How about that?
Wow.
I did not notice that. Good call out. Good call out. So I don't know if that's a typo or if that's because the pintle mount on the Land Raider is also strength 9 in the Space Marine index. So let's see.
Interesting.
Multi-mount, yeah, it's strength 9. Maybe just the pintle mount ones are only strength 9, and the big beefy side sponson ones are
I could see that.
strength 9, or yeah, so or strength 10. But yeah, that's a great call out, Chris. I didn't even notice that. Thank you for pointing that
That's
out.
another fact thing.
But yeah, Bob says definitely a typo. I don't know. Guess email the fact team.
Yeah.
So, in any case, sounds great. So thank everyone for joining us. Be sure to check out our Discord channel. We were super active today. I couldn't even keep up with it. And we got a lot of great information, a lot of great chats going on in there. Also check out our Patreon. I want to thank Rogue and Steve again for not only joining us today to fill in for Bob, but also being Patreon members. Greatly appreciate your guys' support. So thank you again so much. And so make sure you check that out. We got a lot of great Patreon benefits. These guys will be happy to tell you all the great benefits that we have. And until next time, keep on crusading.